Hi, everyone. Welcome to our latest edition of SuperNova Commencements. I'm Kashi, Sehgal, your host. It's been a week or so since I've seen all of you, so checking in. Hope everything is well. We have an amazing show for you today, as always. We have a world-renowned painter and portrait artist. I'm going to bring him up on screen.
Hello. Hey, guys.
There we go. Rossin, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We are excited to have you. Students, this is a real treat. So, Ross, before we get started, I just have to ask, is it 4 paintings at the National Gallery of Art, the Smithsonian National Gallery of Art?
Yes, I've got 4 paintings in the National Portrait Gallery, the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery.
That's right. And I believe that you're the only painter with 4 portraits in the gallery?
The only alive painter.
Only alive. We'll take it.
We'll
take it. All right. Well, anyways, welcome. We can't wait to get started. So let's dive right in. Tell us where you were born, where you went to school, a little bit about school for you.
Well, I was born a long time ago in a small country in Southeast Europe called Bulgaria, in a beautiful town on the Danube River. And when I was 14, I moved to the capital of the country, Sofia, to study arts in the High School of Fine Arts. A rather prestigious place. It was very difficult to get in and not that easy to get a diploma from. I would say that it is the equivalent of Juilliard School here in New York. And then 6 more years in the Art Academy to get my master's in fine arts, master degree, and then traveling the world. So yeah, come to think about it. And before that, before high school, I attended local masters in their studios, and I've learned my craft from very early age. I was only 6 when I realized that I want to be an artist and a painter. So that's what I've been doing all my life. So yes, education is clearly very, very important for me.
Yeah. So how did you decide at 6 years old? At 6 years old, I think I was just finding like paint and color and experimenting with finger paint. Like, how did you get into painting at 6 years old?
I don't know. My folks are very normal, down to earth people. My father was an electrician. My mother was a librarian. But I was lucky to be born in town which cherishes culture a lot, long cultural tradition, European cultural tradition. So I was really exposed to books and museums and galleries. So I knew it early on. I recognized it very quickly. Okay, that's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. And I guess in a sense I was lucky because I wasted no time in trying anything else, but doing what I really, really want. So that's it. I was lucky in a sense.
That's great. So how did you said that you traveled the world. Eventually you ended up in the United States in, I think, 2001, which was a crazy year for the United States, right? That was the year that big attack happened. Did you get here before or after that happened?
Funny story. Actually, before in March, moved here with my family, and we started working with my lawyers about my permanent residence visas. And to cut the very long story very short, we had to go back to Europe in late August, early September 2001 to wait for the permission, for the papers to be approved. And of course, September 11 happened. It was afternoon for us in Europe. A friend of mine called from Vienna and said, "Are you watching CNN?" I said, "No, I'm not watching CNN at 3 o'clock in the afternoon." So she said, "Okay, take a look." And indeed, we saw what the world saw, the horror and everything. And and my wife and I, we thought, okay, that's it. They will shut the borders. God knows what's coming next. So we'll try again next year. Who knows when, if at all. Sure enough, just a few days later, my Lord Secretary called me and said, "Hey, Mr. Rossin, by the way, congratulations, you got your petition for permanent residence was approved. So you're welcome to the United States." Like, okay, this is it. This is unbelievable. I mean, how great this country must be in difficult times like this to continue to have the institutions actually working. So believe it or not, we have our a stamp of approval on the petition September 12, 2001. So
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Truly
Yeah, you're right.
story.
Like, what a testament to what a country like the United States can stand for and has stood for so long. That like brings up so many questions in my mind about what's going on today. How does the outside world, Europe, and I mean, what were your views of the United States before you got here, and how have they changed since arriving?
Well, first of all, I think unless you lived here for at least 5 or more years, I mean, living real life, not just a visiting student or brief business encounter here and there, and understand the people and the essence of the country on an everyday life level, you cannot really draw any conclusion from what you hear in the media here or anywhere else, let alone Hollywood or all that. So yes, indeed, there are all kinds of ideas about what the U.S. stands for. Quite often they're confused with some government decisions and policies and what the real people and everyday people encounter and the real people do and how they live. So there is a huge, immense discrepancy, huge difference between the two. The image of the country, the foreign policies of the country, what you see in the news and what real life is. And let's not forget that's a unique country, truly unique in so many ways. But also there are 50 different states which are in so many ways different from one another. And life is different. Urban life is different than the country life. Country life different from the life up in the mountains or the valleys or deep south or Florida and all that. You know this too. So the world is very quick to judge in 1 or 2 sentences what the United States is all about, and that's almost always completely wrong.
Same goes for people. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it is interesting, the perspective that you bring. I'd like to talk a little bit about your path. So you started painting when you were 6 and continued to learn and then traveled the world. How did you end up? We talked a little bit about how you ended up here in the United States, but how did you become this world-renowned, super famous, very well-respected portrait artist and painter? I mean, how did that happen? A lot of hard work, I know, but I mean, how do you even navigate something like that?
Right. Well, I guess again, starting early gave me the chance to master my craft and take it to the highest possible levels professionally, but also in terms of work habits and self-respect. I mean, I never worked for anyone. I never worked in the office, never worked anything else. But guess what? As a result, there is no weekend for me. There is no 9 to 5 time frame in the day. I work literally 24/7, if not physically in the studio, mentally, and in my mind, in my ideas, in my planning and all that. So a tremendous amount of work, and inevitably an element of luck, of meeting the right people. But guess what? You cannot simply wait for your luck to happen and to hit you on the head. You have to create the environment to push, given the specific circumstances of your particular environment, to see what's the best possible outcome of that particular environment. So I remember, I mean, obviously this conversation is too short. We need a few days to tell you the story of how a son of an electrician in an obscure town, in an obscure country, in the corner of somewhere in the world, ended up, doing what I'm doing. But takes much more. But always, I guess the key word is persistence. The key word is believing in yourself and having a really clear idea what you want. So no matter who you meet, no matter in what circumstances, you're always constantly thinking, okay, in this given situation, what I can do, what is that thing I could do best in order to come from here to here, and then there, and then there. And yes, there is an element of luck, but like I said, this luck is not a lottery luck. It's a luck that you invite to happen.
You create the luck that you get, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how, if you're not certain, I mean, you've been so certain for so long, if you aren't certain about what you bring that you think is special to the world, I mean, I'm sure all of our students have many talents, but if you're not sure what that is, how do you hone in on that?
First of all, that certainty I'm talking about is the medium I express myself, but everything else is not that certain as it may look. Clearly, it's a long way of soul searching and self searching and understanding who you really are. And took quite some time, honestly. Probably I started realizing what I want and who I am really, and how to. No, I take this back. You never know who you really are, honestly. You never know, but you have a sense, you have an idea, at least after many, many years of trying to figure it out. But if you, let's say you don't necessarily have one particular clear talent in painting, dancing, whatever, music, engineering, that doesn't mean almost anything. You still are a unique individual, unique in this crazy world out there, and with a unique God-given voice. And the idea is to have that voice, to find that voice. Mm-hmm. And it's sometimes takes longer, but still. But the key is, I guess, to be true to yourself, and to be honest with yourself, not to. You have to take into consideration how society thinks, what people think about you, and everything. But your voice, your inner voice, needs to be a top priority.
Absolutely. That is such great advice. Really listen to that, because oftentimes we ignore, the voice in our head, but it's so right most of the time. So it really can be your best friend, and your worst enemy at times too, but
True.
Usually your best friend.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So what is one of the hardest things about being an artist that people who aren't artists would not really know? Like, something not obvious?
There's several things which I try to balance in my life. Usually, but probably the hardest thing is to be completely honest with yourself and completely honest in your work. That means that requires inevitably at some point to expose yourself to the world. And being an artist, regardless of the medium, you expose yourself more often than not, right? So this is not a work for somebody who is overly sensitive or shy or having a hard time exactly doing that. It is really tricky. Art is all about going deep and bringing it to the surface, and then somebody's judging it. So this is really hard. Not everybody's taking it easily. You have to be ready to take the punch. You have to be ready. And when we talk about decades of career, decades of punches and disappointments and regrets and drama, which is mostly within. Regardless of your quote unquote success, earthly success, the drama is still here. The uncertainties, the doubts, the whether or not that could have been better. But the worst of all, I guess, is this yearning for perfection. That what you have in your head is rarely, if ever, what you get on the canvas or in your specific medium, and you have to be ready for that. It is really a complicated way of living, where this honesty and soul searching and exposing it to the world and the effort to expose it in the best possible light, not to mention the effort actually to sell it and to make a living out of this and to share it with other people and all that. It is a really complicated. On top of that, you have to balance all this with a family, which is very important for me and very important for many artists. And as you know, in the artistic world, quite often one of the two suffers, either the family or the career. I mean, everybody with a career, it doesn't have to be an artist. That's a major issue. So balancing that, balancing also the reality of life, political, economical, social, and all that. So you have to be ready. It is hard, but it's also very rewarding because you live a unique life. Mm-hmm. Everybody lives a unique life, clearly, but the artists, especially people who do their thing, they have a really chance to live this unique life. It comes with a price, clearly, but you better be ready for it.
Yeah, well, there's so much good advice packed into that answer. I feel like I'm going to need to go back through and listen to that again. But a few of the things that you just said. So one is putting yourself out there and knowing that you're going to be judged, but doing it anyways because it's something you believe in. So that's one of the things you just covered. Another thing you just said that I think is so important and has been important for me as an entrepreneur moving through life is that what is in your head is not necessarily what translates to the canvas. And so as a perfectionist myself, it has been hard for me to learn over the years that what the end result or what the result is of my efforts is still okay, even though it doesn't match exactly what I had pictured it to be. So it's interesting that you say that artists experience that from concept to execution. Yeah.
And absolutely. And strangely, there is a mystic element. I hope it doesn't sound too weird, but you can have only so much control on what you're doing. Inevitably, right. The last 5%, it's up to somebody else or something else up there or anywhere. Yeah. It is really, really weird. So you step back and you see your baby and say, okay, it's okay. It works or not. It's nice, but funny thing, it's a paradox. You have to invest yourself in your work, clearly. Not 100%. I never do 100%. Minimum 150% or 200% is even better. Whatever that means, all right? You have to invest yourself totally. But only to a point, only not that much, so you would go crazy if the result is not what you expected. So it's a fine balance, but you learn this in time. So experience is very important. Experience is very important. I don't remember which actor said that, but he said, you see, you need to act no matter what, whatever role they give you, whatever comes across, act. I would say the same, paint, or entrepreneur, keep pushing, another project, the next project. You learn from this. The worst thing is to sit back and wait something to happen from outside and somebody else to take care of it, or luck, or better times, better environment. Listen, I have all the excuses in the world where I come from for the last 50 years. So many things to go in a very different direction, very wrong. I never never wasted time in whining about this policy or that policy, this government or that government. It was all me and the world. Never forget that.
Absolutely. So students, that means go talk to that professor or go apply for that job or take an internship that you would never think you would have taken. So just put yourself out there. Go. Try, and only by that, doing all that, are you really going to see what you really want to do, right? What speaks to you. So, okay. So you also, when we talked earlier, you said that you are working on a lot of projects right now. You've got, students behind Ross is Morgan Freeman has joined us by way of portrait that Ross did. And actually, you have painted Morgan Freeman, you've painted Maya Angelou. I mean, so many people, like the last 4 CEOs, I think, of Coca-Cola. So lots of professional business people, 5 CEOs of Coke. And actors. I love the one that you did of, why can I think of her name? Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Audrey Hepburn.
One of my favorites. She just beautiful. So you work very hard. You have a lot of paintings happening at one time. How do you manage all of this? I mean, it's not just time management, but it's like concentration management.
Actually, I think of this as an advantage, and I do it on purpose because my mind is absolutely restless. I don't know how to rest. When I go with the family somewhere on so-called vacation, I need 3 or 4 days just to unwind. Then probably I would rest for a day or 2, and then immediately I'll start thinking about the next project. So when I have several projects going on, actually, this is how I rest, by doing the other project or the 3rd or the 5th. And also another thing is, you need to keep your senses in my line of work anyway. Every work is different. But as an artist, I need to keep my senses fresh when I come to the studio. I need to keep my passion about that work fresh. I never work anything because it's a commission work or it costs whatever amount of money and will bring this and that. No, I do it because I like it, because I want to do it, and there is one or another particular reason I'm doing it. So every morning when I go to the studio, very rarely I know exactly what I'm going to do. I just look around. Okay, today it's you. Let me work on you because I feel like doing you right now. So the fresh sense is very, very important. The worst thing that could happen is to become indifferent to my work, or to feel like I simply have to finish it because of the deadline and everything. It happens, not that it's not happening, but rarely. So that's the reason. Just balancing off several things actually give me that ultimate balance. In other words, I don't live in some peaceful, transcendent existence. It's a balance of things that going together keeps me leveled. But that's my own craziness anyway. So not necessarily a formula for living. So don't listen to everything I say.
Yeah, but it's helpful. I mean, this is why people have 2nd and 3rd careers and jobs. You might be a banker and also an artist. That's okay because they feed each other, right? They help you think differently.
And a producer and all that, clearly. And also, I have a really acute sense of time. I know time is finite. Time is the biggest wealth we have, only after our own health, obviously. Time is the most precious commodity. So I try to be as efficient as possible, to the point of almost unhealthy perfectionism. So what did I do in the last hour? Was it something meaningful? Was it something that led to something else? Today I spent 7-8 hours in the studio. Were they good, productive hours, I'm going to have a certain meeting. Where would that meeting will take me? What would be the benefit for my family, or for my career, or for my intellectual growth, or personal growth, or spiritual growth? You see,
Right.
time is extremely important. One of the mistakes young people do, and I never did, by the way, I was just born like this, is thinking, oh, there's plenty of time, no worries, and life is great. Life is great, of course, and there is always time for everything, but still, be careful how you spend your time.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Although you do want to have fun. Make sure fun is part of that.
Fun, you see, fun is a quality time. Nothing wrong with fun.
Yeah,
Fun is
yeah.
actually great. Work hard, party hard. Nothing wrong with that. Exactly the opposite. Fun is very, very important. What I see waste of time is actually doing nothing, just being idle, not having fun, not doing anything meaningful, not doing anything that is worthwhile.
What role can the arts play in helping us through times like we're experiencing right now in the country, civil unrest, and even a health crisis? I mean, how can art play a role and help?
Well, first of all, we need to realize that we are surrounded by art, even without knowing it. All right. So art is everywhere, literally. Performing arts, the theater, movies, Netflix, streaming, everything, design, clothing, architecture. So art is literally everywhere. So when we talk about art in this broader sense, that is everywhere, we have to understand that art carries certain messages within us. We're talking good art, obviously, meaningful art that carries that sense of balance and harmony and beauty that transcends truly the stressful life, the ugliness of reality and everything. Now, if we talk about art that engages in a certain issues, the issues of today and everything, obviously, again, with a much more active ways to participate, and again celebrates the good, celebrates the right, celebrates the beauty and the harmony, and in contrast to everything which is obviously ugly. So clearly there is a huge role, but again, I guess my message is we need to think of art in much broader perspective, not just art that is literally out there, waving the flags.
Yeah. Well, I have so many more questions, but we do have a lot of student questions coming in. So I want to jump to some of those. Madison wants to start with a good one. Who are your favorite artists?
Oh, boy.
I'm sure you have several.
Yeah. Several. How can you possibly, let me answer this way. I was born in a city that had beautiful artistic life, local art, and they were wonderful. They still are wonderful artists. But I was never really impressed with quote unquote local art or local artist or somebody who is in vogue today. I always admired the great masters. For me, the criteria of good art has always been, to this day, truly the greatest masters of all times. That goes back way to antiquity, Renaissance times, modern times, of course, clearly. So it's not about one name or another. If I say Rembrandt or Michelangelo or Velasquez or Vermeer or Van Gogh, Jackson Pollock, I wouldn't say much. You know these names, but I guess the key answer would be my favorite artists are those who are the greatest ever. I always compare myself, if I compare myself, to them, to that highest possible bar, how I stand next to them. And I guess that makes some sense.
Yeah, when you dream big and you compare yourself to something higher, then it helps pull you up. So that's actually really great.
The higher the chances you go up, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Brielle would like to know, if you were not an artist, what would you be?
Oh, Honestly, it's really difficult. I've been thinking about it. When I was younger, I thought I could be involved in the movies. Probably I see myself as a director, maybe documentaries or feature films. I wrote a couple of books. Probably I see myself as a writer too. But also quite often, believe it or not, I would see myself as a physician who works in the ER, who helps people directly. And especially in the recent years, I'm more and more sensitive and connected to people's existence, people's suffering, and including physical, actual suffering. Probably I would end up in a med school. I don't know, something like this. But truth is, I really cannot see myself other than doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I can't either. So stay where you are. Okay, so Carter would like to know, what would you do differently if you could go back to your 20-year-old self and do it all over again?
Nothing.
Live life with no regrets.
Nothing, and I'll tell you why. Two reasons. Not that my life is perfect. No, it is perfect for me, but nothing, because I cannot possibly work any harder than I've been working in the last 50 years, literally. I'm 56 now, so it's 50 years of doing what I'm doing. I cannot possibly work any harder than that. And the people I met, and I've been very fortunate to meet in every stage, in every step of the way. I've been so lucky that I had them in my life, and obviously having my family and my children and everything. I can't imagine not having them, trying some different path which would lead me God knows where. So I guess I'm a lucky person to say, no, I wouldn't do anything different.
Yeah, that's good. That's what you get for taking a leap and taking a chance and just going for it. You'll always regret the things you didn't do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. Andy would like to know, was there a career setback that you experienced at any point, and then you later realized maybe it was a good thing, or, did it really throw you off course for a bit?
It was critical in the middle of the 90s, when I was mostly exhibiting in galleries across Europe, in Paris, in Brussels, in Germany. And I was considering following the usual path for an artist, working with commercial galleries around the world. And it was relatively early on, I realized this is not exactly what I want. I would rather do it differently, do it my own way, which isn't different from the career of the old masters, say Rembrandt or Velasquez, just doing portraits, being a professional portrait artist, securing my life and decent living and everything. And then on top of that, doing everything freely, any way I want, any way I feel about it. So that was a very clear career choice. It was not a lucky accident. It was a conscious decision to take this particular path versus the other one. So to answer your question again, yes, I had these moments in the 90s, and turned out to be the right choice.
Yeah. Speaking of galleries, we do have a question about that. Kim said she's just starting her career as an artist. And how did you get yourself into galleries in the first place and get the visibility that you needed to then do what you wanted to do, which you just explained?
Okay, let me tell you, with whatever money I made early on, when I was much younger, I would go to Paris for a week, and every day I would visit at least 20 galleries a day, knocking on the door literally and say, hello, see my work. this is extremely embarrassing experience. That was extremely difficult because, 99% of the time they say, "Oh, no, thank you. We're not interested in artists. We're interested in selling art, not having new artists, especially young artists. Goodness, who needs young artists?" But I kept doing it nevertheless, and I did the same in New York later on when I came. So again, keep pushing, keep exposing yourself, keep showing your work, learn more. What is the right type of gallery for you? What is the right town for you? What is the right neighborhood? What is the right social environment that will help you grow? Not just it's not enough just to say Manhattan or LA or Paris. That means almost nothing. Which one particular? Where is your niche? Find who you are, and then follow that particular corner of society and that particular structure that will enhance what you do the best. That will help you the best. Stay laser focused on that, and that will give you a particular chance. You see, for me, I had all kinds of ideas when I was in college and everything. I had all kinds of plans and everything, but one thing I realized, I'm really good in doing portraits, and I've decided to do this and to secure my existence. You see, it's very important to have a secured life, no matter what they say, no matter what the books tell you, or the movies, or this professor or that professor. Secure life is very important. You know why? Because it gives you the ultimate freedom, right? You don't have freedom, you have to worry about your bills, or you have to worry about food or cold or this and that. No, you have to secure a life. Find ways to secure, and that gives you the ultimate freedom to be yourself. That's the reality. You have to face it. No need to go around it. Turn 40, 45, and then realize, oh, actually, I've been too idealistic. No, there is no room for being idealistic. You have to be a business person from day one. If successful artists, by the way, read art history, you will see, regardless of which time period, all of them, almost without exception, one or two unfortunate exceptions, will teach you precisely this. All of the successful artists were also very successful businessmen and women. 20th century, before that, doesn't matter. Even Van Gogh, our holy saint, he had secured life from his brother. So he had no worries. He had different kind of drama, but in terms of security, his life was secured by the help of his brother. So think like a businessman. Think aggressively.
Yeah, that's great advice. You don't have to be one or the other.
No.
Keeping a real practical focus.
Learn your art history lessons. Go back to see how successful actually socially was Michelangelo, Velasquez, or Rembrandt. Just learn your history. It is amazing to see this. We rarely think, if ever, actually, talk about artists as successful businessmen. Talk about Picasso and Dali and Mark Rothko and all of them. They were massively successful. Very few exceptions here and there, but they are truly exceptions. Even Modigliani, even his life was secured. He was just a junkie, but that's a different story.
Let's see. Brian would like to know, do you have a favorite painting of yours? I know that's probably hard to pick, or like a top 3, maybe. Or what did you enjoy working on the most, or one of the ones that was most?
I like them all when I work on them. Sometimes I'm somewhat satisfied with what I see. I don't necessarily have one favorite. A few of them kind of are okay, but again, my problem is what's in my head is so much better, so much better. I'm most excited about the current projects I have, and so I keep that excitement actually genuinely, not artificially. So the next painting is my
It's a good answer. All right, we're going to take one more. Angelina would like to know what inspires you.
For the longest time, when I was younger, I was always inspired by beauty and harmony and everything that has balance and grace. Recently, though, in the last probably 5 years or so, very different thing inspire me, and much more spiritual, much more deep inside. So I'm inspired by human nature, but not just what you see, but what is behind, what's deep down on a cosmic level, on a much bigger and different plane. So yeah, I'm after this spiritual, evasive aspect and essence of the human being. So this is it. This is it. Pure consciousness. This is it.
Pure consciousness. Well, what a way to end. Yeah, that's important. Get in touch with your consciousness. Spend some time, meditate. Those are all excellent pieces of advice for anyone, not just students. All right. Well, we've quickly run out of time today. Ross, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any parting words for the students? Words of advice?
Surround yourself with people better than you. This is the key. People who inspire you, people who make you dream and realize there are much more important things in life and bigger things in life. Never surrender, never stop pushing and going for it. Never doubt yourself, by the way. I mean, it's okay every now and then. You have to doubt yourself. You're not always right, clearly, but never doubt your essence. Never doubt your inner voice. That is, you have found your inner voice and you listen to the inner voice. So never stop searching deep inside and asking yourself the most brutal questions of life and the very existence. Why? Not for some abstract spiritual reasons, but the deeper you go, the more important the truth will be, the more clear your path will be. Otherwise, there are 10 million distractions a minute in our life today. All of them are seemingly important. Let me tell you, they are not. However important they look, trust me, they are not. The only important thing is you. The only important thing is your real voice, your true self, yourself within, who you are, and keep going and be true to you. That's all. I mean, you've heard that before, but it's important to hear it again. Please remember, all these distractions that seem to be important and somebody's telling you that they're important, they're not.
There you go. Stay focused, everyone. Ross, thank you so much again. Students, I just want to brief you on what is coming up. We have all kinds of changes going on for the better. You can see we're also in a new room of the house. So we're trying to get that together. I'm in a room of doors now instead of all the art hanging above me. But we are liking our new space. We have got some really cool opportunities coming up for you, internships and all kinds of things with partners. So, and even some grant opportunities for some funding. So stay tuned, sign up for the mailing list. You can find us everywhere on the web at SuperNova Commencements, supernovacommemcements.com on our website, and hashtag SuperNova Commencements. We're making it real easy to find us. Our next speaker next week is my friend Jewell Burke Solomon. She is an entrepreneur, very successful entrepreneur. She's also the head of startups head of Google for startups is, I guess, her official title. So she's at Google. She started her own thing. She sold. She had a huge exit. She's supporting other entrepreneurs. So it's going to be a really great show next week. So join us. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you are up to. And we'd love to follow you. Have a great week. And remember to stay happy and healthy and safe and be kind to everybody. And we'll see you next week. Bye.